Hey you guys, welcome to another new release review here on the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Bullet Train, a new movie that comes out here in a couple of days, but I had the opportunity to go see it early last night, so I wanted to make a video talking about some of my thoughts on the film. Bullet Train is the fifth film from director David Leitch, who previously directed John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Hobbs Shaw. Most of those are known for their preposterous violence and impressive stunt work, which isn't too surprising considering that Leitch was a stunt double before he was ever a director. In fact, David Leitch was a stunt double for Bullet Train's star Brad Pitt back in the day. So with that sort of background in both his stunt and directing work, I had high expectations for this movie going in. From the trailers, I thought that this would be a fun, violent time at the theater. And I got exactly that because this movie is an absolute blast. It's not perfect, but it's a great time. The first thing I need to address here is the cast because they absolutely hit it out of the park here. Brad Pitt is fantastic as usual. His character for me is a little annoying, but that's how he was written, that's what he was intended to be, so I can't fault him for that. I was thinking about it on the drive home, and I think that Brad Pitt has had one of the most diverse, long-standing careers of almost any other Hollywood leading man of the last 30 years. In the last 5 years, he's done dramas, cameos in larger movies, comedies, he even won an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and now he lends his hand to this sort of hyper-violent comedy genre that's emerged recently. He's great in the movie, and I enjoyed following his character throughout the film, who, at times, is just as clueless as we are as to what's going on. Many other members of the cast do well here, including Joey King, who I'm glad has diversified her resume beyond just Netflix romantic comedies. She's really great in the movie. But I have to talk about how good Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson here, because for me, they stole the show. Both have been great in performances up to this point, so it's not shocking to me that they individually do a good job, but what really hit home was their chemistry with one another and how effectively they brought across their characters' connection. They truly have that sort of brotherly dynamic with one another where they'll be picking on each other, but at the same time, they genuinely care about the other person. There are a couple of heartfelt moments for the characters in this film that really landed for me. Aaron Taylor Johnson specifically has a scene where I was sitting there like, holy crap, this guy is talented. But let's get to the meat and potatoes here. This movie's called Bullet Train, so let's talk about the action. The hand-to-hand stuff is all very good. The film takes place in Japan, so we have plenty of samurai sword combat scenes that are excellent. Characters using props to their advantage is all great. There is one variable that characters can use to their advantage that some characters don't know is there that I thought was well used to the degree that the audience always knew that there was a present danger even when it wasn't on screen. But I would be lying if I said that there weren't moments where things were just absolutely preposterous. Real-life bullet trains can go over 300 miles an hour, so if someone is hanging on the outside of it, I don't think they're going to be able to hang on very long. And there are a couple of scenes where we just kind of have to live with the fact that these characters can do something like that and then some as well. But for the most part, the action is really good in this movie, aside from whenever they try to go too grand with it, in my opinion. The story is a bit convenient in parts, but it's really hard for me to criticize the movie for that because one of the major themes here is the fact that everything happens for a reason. There is no good or bad luck, and even major conveniences are all a part of fate. But still, the movie asks you to suspend disbelief in certain parts. You just have to accept that all the characters and scenarios are here to give us some cool action sequences on a bullet train. There are a few plot holes with this movie that I found to be pretty glaring the more I thought about them after the film. I won't give away what those are, but there are moments where it doesn't make sense that one character would know to want to kill another, and there's another situation where it doesn't make sense why one character would know that someone would be on the train in the first place. I know that's all cryptic, and hopefully you understand what I'm saying after seeing the movie. I just don't want to spoil anything here. Going deeper into more criticism for the movie, I feel like in the beginning, it doesn't really balance the multiple storylines very well. We're introduced to certain characters and then are left with a cliffhanger as to what they're going to do next, which is fine. I mean, any Avengers film does this, But what's important is that there are times when they go a little too long without addressing what's going on with certain storylines. So you get introduced to a scenario, but then the movie decides to cut away for 10 to 15 minutes, so you're left there wondering what's going on with those characters. And there's a certain balance that ensemble films have to find there, and I felt like Bullet Train just didn't have that down there at the beginning of the movie. But I will say, the movie gets better at this as it goes along, and all of the subplots start coming together, and we're given less characters. I mean, it's a movie called Bullet Train, so spoiler alert, people die. It's also abundantly clear that Leach took inspiration from Guy Ritchie films, as this film has all of that quick-cut dialogue interlaced with violence that we've come to expect from Ritchie's films, with the exception of Aladdin. I liked Leach wearing his inspiration on his sleeve, and I thought that it worked well for this movie and the tone that they were going for. Overall, I enjoyed most of the action, the performances were good, the story is convenient in parts, but that's sort of the point, and it all comes together to be David Leach's homage to Guy Ritchie, while also building up his own cast of unique characters you grow to love in a scenario that brought about a fun time at the theater. It's not the best in the sort of action comedy subgenre that we've been getting a lot of lately, but I still think that it was a perfectly enjoyable time at the theater, and for now, I'm going to give Bullet Train a 7 out of 10. Alright, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching the whole video, and subscribe for more if you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.